Moin, I'm Catherine, and today I'm in bed with my second part of my favorite, there are sirens outside, favorite LGBTQIA plus reads. I'm going to link the first part in the corner, and this is going to be hopefully not so very long video, because all of those books, I think almost all of those books, are in one or the other wrap-up that I've made. So I'm just going to mention the book, hold it into the camera, and then link the wrap-up where I talk more about the book in the corner or in the description, because I think I'm only able to link 5 things in the corner and it's going to take too long. This wrap-up has, in the main part, because I'm going to cheat as always, in the main part, some trans books, because that's where I feel that I have the most need to get more educated, because I've been through coming out myself. I've seen a lot of coming outs with my friends. So reading contemporary, like new, up-to-date LG, like more like coming out stories, is more academic interest. How they are written nowadays, and I want to support LGBTQIA writers always. And speaking of getting educated, I just watched, turn around, Disclosure, the documentary on Netflix, which is super interesting, goes through Hollywood's history, how transgender people have been characterized in film and TV throughout the history of television. I can only recommend to watch this because I was horrified. There are a few TV shows in there that I really like to watch and totally didn't recognize at the time I was watching them that they were making fun of transgender people. Maybe I did realize it at the moment, but now watching the thing, that was in there? How horrifying. Yeah. So watch Disclosure, not only because I had Jen Richards, one of the actresses and writers who speaks in the documentary, for an interview, and I'm for sure going to link that in the corner. So number 1, I've separated those in fiction, non-fiction, LGBTQIA characters in a novel that is not primarily about queer topics. And I'm going to start with the fiction part because that's what I mostly read and are interested in. And this is like one of my fav books of the last year. I highly recommend this to everyone. It's an own voice story, which I think is quite important. I think I've mostly chosen own voice stories. If you don't know the term own voice, it means that the person who has written the book has actually gone through something. So it's fictional, but the person knows what they are talking about. This is How It Always Is by Laurie Frankel. I'm going to link the wrap-up with this in the description in the corner, wherever. Read this. The next one is This Song Is Not For You by Nowlin. And I think this is the first asexual character I have read in a novel ever. So this song is not for you. The next one is Miles Away From You from A.B. Rutledge. So my first Top 5 Wednesday with LGBTQIA plus reads had Thomas Ford's Full Circle in it, which is a story about AIDS in the 80s and how it affected everyone. And this is what The Great Believers does too, by Rebecca Makkai. I think it's in my last wrap-up, and as I said, going to link it somewhere. Also by Rebecca Makkai, also in the same wrap-up, The Borrower, which is not for sure, but it, like, not for sure a queer novel, but it has this boy in there who everybody suspects is gay, and his parents want him to go into, or send him into, a priest school that tries to get him straight again, which is horrific. I think I said it in the wrap-up, I'm going to say it again. I just don't get why this is still allowed anywhere. I don't get it. Please support every initiative that tries to get those things abolished. And the last in the top 5 fiction section is Huntress by Malinda Lo, which is a YA fantasy story with some lesbian main characters. Getting to the non-fiction part, High School by Tegan and Sara, which is about their musical career, like how they started off with their musical career, but it's for sure also about both of their coming out. So High School, Tegan and Sara. The next one, funny enough, also a musical autobiography. Laura Jane Grace, singer of Against Me, about her transition, her gender dysphoria. For some reason I thought I had the cover on my iPad. I don't have it, but it's Cleve Jones, When We Rise, about Cleve Jones' activism time in the queer gay community, his time with Harvey Milk. Also an autobiography that I can highly recommend. Then as a series, it's a classic, Armistead Maupin, The Tales of the City. I'm not even sure why I didn't have it in the last wrap-up. I probably didn't think about it for some or other reason. I did it again. I have the audio recorder lying here and I'm clapping on my leg and it's going to sound very bad for you. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, the whole series is very much fun to read. Cheating on the 5, that was fiction, non-fiction, serious, and now we come to the German part. But this is, at least as an ebook translated into English, I think in English it's The Center of the World. I've been talking about this book in several videos. I'm going to link them. It's a very, very nice coming out and coming of age story. Well, I'm pretty sure I should have watched the old video. I do have not in the old video is to mention some books that are not primarily about queer topics but have queer characters in them, which I always think is a good thing to do. I wish a lot more authors would have just some side character. Just have a queer side character in the story, because that is real life. Because everybody of us, even if they don't know it, for sure know someone who's queer. Pet, I've just finished reading this. It's going to be in my next wrap-up, which is going to come out after this video. So just come back next week and I'm going to rave about this book that has a trans main character. And just to say it now, I laughed how this is just, mentioned in 5 sentences. This is how it is. And that's it. And I love that. And I love the whole book. Just come back for the wrap-up with Pet. I mean, I'm just not going to bother with the Pet now because this is going to be endless. I'm going to put the covers, which I don't have the books here because I've listened to it as an audiobook, in the video. You're going to see it. Erin Morgenstern, The Night Circus, and also The Starless Sea, her second novel. Both I loved a lot. Erin Morgenstern. The next one is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'm just wondering if I should have put it up in the top 5 with the fiction novels, because one of the main characters is queer, but I still would say that the novel is about being queer and Hollywood trying to suppress you coming out. So it should have been in the other section because I liked it a lot. Just put it up. Just imagine I said this at the beginning of the video. How could this be missing in any of my top 5 Wednesdays videos? Because luckily it has a queer character in the novel. Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rivka Brandt. You can watch my book talk with Laura Seck about this book, and I seriously, if you haven't read it, go and buy it now, because my understanding for not having read this book is like, so this is completely not a queer story. It's about somebody with multiple personalities, but it has a gender twist, which I thought was super, super interesting, because you're not expecting it. And the same happens in here. And if you have seen the movie, do read the book like the English is, let the right one in, because you don't get it in the movie. You just don't realize it in the movie. Read the book. Going Out by Scarlett Thomas. Nice coming of age story with queer characters. Also in my last wrap up, Maggie's Stiefvater, Call Down the Hawk, which is the continuance of the Raven cycle, concentrated on one of the characters who happens to be gay. Also one of my favorite fantasy series, Trudy Canavan, the Black Magician's trilogy, also the sequel, I'm not sure about the prequel, Black Magician series, prequel, sequel, go have a look, it has queer characters in it. Also in the upcoming wrap up, the last part of John Scalzi's Interdependency series, which also has queer characters. I also, like, those were most of them 4 or 5-star reads, so book I really highly recommend. There are also a lot of 3-star reads, either with queer characters or mostly actually queer stories, that I'm just going to put the covers at the end of this babbling on, so hold on for the next 1.5 minutes. Those are all very readable, just for one reason or the others, maybe some pet peeves, or I just didn't think it was so super interesting. I only gave them 3 stars, which is still a good rating for me, so I still recommend those books to you. I'm just not going to mention them all now. Just watch the next 1.5 minutes, and I'm going to give you all of those covers, and they're all going to be in the description. So if you watch this, you probably already have an interest in queer literature, which is very good, but maybe you get someone who isn't there yet to read one of those books. Maybe the next book present you give away, and you should always give books as a present. So if you are invited somewhere and you need a present, bring a book and maybe choose one of those. And as always, do not forget to support your local independent book dealer. Moin, I'm Catherine, and today I'm in bed with Laura Seck.
Hi!
So we are here to talk about a book I love very, very much. It's called
Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rivka Brandt.